speaking about violations, Chad, you said to ask about pigeons in a box.
Uh, okay, so my guys are going around the site and they're like, "Oh, this is a real mess. Like, how am I gonna put topsoil over all this garbage?" And he bends down to pick up this fucking box, and it starts to move on him. He's like, "What the fuck?" Opens up the box. There's two pigeons living in this box that he was about to topsoil over, right? Because the GC's too lazy to pick up all their fucking garbage. So they did a quick check to make sure there was no more pigeons um, living in the trash on the site, and then they got to work. But and then this guy's an animal lover too, right? Like, um, yeah, he could never harm like a fly or a raccoon or anything that we have at the yard. So he would have been traumatized. Like he would have had to take personal days if he accidentally murdered these pigeons.
Nice.
It amazes me that someone's like probably harassing you to get to their site
Yeah,
and then
it's
totally unprepared the day you show up.
yeah. Well, we've been sort of back and forth, the civil and I, against the GC on this one because they're like, "Hey, come on in, we're ready, let's go, hurry up." And then we get there, and then they're driving their Zoom booms all over our sub base, right? And I mean, these things weigh, I don't know, 20,000 pounds more. You know, like they're big lifts, right? And like you just ruined all the sub base. Now I have to add 6 inches more topsoil and regrade everything. And it's like, oh, it's not a big deal. Um, but we're like back charging for having to redo the sub base and stuff. And they're, oh, well, it's not that bad. And you're just getting into it with these guys. And just a nightmare to deal with. Relax. Sorry, my dog's going off again.
We did one last year and they were like, when can you do the landscape? And I'm like, when the exterior of the building is complete.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, can you do it before that? And I'm like, no.
No.
Because you're going to need to drive your stupid Zoom boom here to put the gutter up.
Yeah.
And on that particular project, I've had a crew there since April last year. They're still there now. Like, that's how long they've been there. And there's like everything is basically finished. There's still no gutters on the fucking building.
Okay. Same thing with this building, right? They're like, how are you going to put the soffit on, soffit, fascia, and all that shit at 10 stories up, whatever it is? That, oh, we're going to do it from the roof. Okay, well, we've never seen that before, but go ahead and do it from the roof because you can't do it from the bottom anymore.
Because it's all, yeah, like it's all landscaped and it's like trying
they
to
don't understand.
reinvent the wheel. Like, have you incurred the pole planning yet?
The what?
It's called pole planning, and they take a project and they go, this is the finish date. And then they work backwards all the way to the day that you're having this meeting of everything that has to happen. Because they're like trying to reinvent. I was in this meeting and I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like, it just was, maybe it works somewhere. I don't know. It just was like this bizarre process. And I was like, that was another thing that happened on that Lifetime job. It was one of the first jobs where I was like, because normally landscaping, you're like the last person there.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit about you. But I was one of the first places I was ever like in these like daily huddles and meetings and had to like rep and make plans for hard dates when we'd finish shit. And I'd be like, I don't know, dude, you were supposed to give this to me last October and you gave it to me in March. So I'm kind of behind.
Yep.
12
exactly
weeks.
How this job is. Yeah.
14 weeks behind. Like, I don't know. That job in particular, I learned some good lessons though. And one of the lessons I learned was if you're willing to spend an unlimited amount of money, you can finish almost anything on time. It was like an open, they were like, they said, what do you need to finish this job? I said, I need 50 guys tomorrow. And then I'll assign one of my guys to be in charge of 5 guys and we'll run 10 crews here. And they said, okay. And I showed up to the site the next day and there was 50 fucking guys standing in the parking lot. And I was like, okay. I don't know who's paying for this.
Wow. Right.
Did not come out of our fucking contract. And it got finished. It was crazy.
Wow. See, I'm in the opposite boat with these guys. We were supposed to be done last October. We didn't get to go ahead to start until July 1st ish. And they wanted us to plant trees mid-July. I'm like, I have a warranty on the line here. Like, I don't want to plant trees mid-July. I said, well, you have to do it. Everybody in Toronto does it and all this stuff. I said, I have to water these things. I have to water all this sod at a rate that's different than what I would have had to do if I installed it in October. So I need like an extra water allowance. We're an hour from home. I'm like, I need $10,000. Like, not a fucking chance. And they're hooting and hollering and screaming, and the president of the company is getting involved, and he's pissed off. And I'm like, how the fuck did this guy get to be president of the company talking to people like this? Like, I'm just trying to mitigate. Like, I shouldn't have to be out of pocket because you guys are 6 months or 8 months late on your completion date, right? So I don't know. We're still back and forth with them.
I'm sure there's like probably every contractor's having the same.
Yeah.
Normally, if one guy's having a shit experience, like I used to like show up places like back in the day and be like, "Yeah, we're not getting paid for this." Like, you got to go somewhere. You got to roll the dice. You got to go to work, right? So, well, I'd show up and be like, "Yeah, I don't see us getting paid for this, motherfucker." Like, and then inevitably, like, we would leave, not get paid, and then we'd lien every house in the complex because it's like all one condo complex. So there's one where we liened like 200 houses in this complex.
Right on.
And then, so these people can't sell their houses. They can't do anything with their houses.
Yeah.
So then the builder ended up going bankrupt. So then they used the LC to finish the job. And then the town hired us to finish it because we had an intimate knowledge of it. So then we went back to this townhouse complex to finish this job. And these people, like, I had like to assign people like, okay, make sure no one drills holes in our tires, because they were so mad because they were like, I've been trying to sell my house for a year and you motherfuckers have a lien on my house and I never owe you any money. It has nothing to do with me. And I'm like, well, bro, welcome to living in a condo.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have bought here.
Nothing personal, but I need my money.
We need to get paid. It was messed up. It was
just a nightmare. Just a nightmare. Some of these GCs are so, but like some of the foremen are so bad. Like, you'll go in the toilets and they'll be like, this guy's an asshole, and like just graffiti, just completely shitting on the foreman of the week or whatever, right? Like, this is one of those sites where nobody likes this guy. You got to clean we put topsoil down last week or whatever, and we had to dump it in the parking lot because we had to get it around, right? Get an email or a phone call 4:30 on a Friday. The GC's pissed off because we didn't clean the parking lot. I'm like, it's my site right now. Like, I'm doing topsoil work. We cleaned it. We scraped it. We didn't hose it down. We used the power broom, but like, it's my site right now. And they're like, oh, there's nurses coming Monday morning to move beds into the old folks' home, and it has to be perfectly clean. We just spent $10,000 to clean the floors, and not my problem. Like, you hired me to do a job. You're still in a construction zone, and it's my construction zone right now. Like, just for the most part, commercial contracting is great, but whenever you get the wrong GC, well, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it is. Well, I guess that's the same with almost any.
Yeah.
Well, we get the wrong client doing anything, it sucks ass.
Yeah.
It's a whole.
Yeah, I haven't had so many terrible clients this year. They've mostly been good. I can't complain, really. But we've all got those horror stories, right?
Yeah, I haven't had a bad client in a long time. It's just been too easy to like pick and choose, really. Who at least at my scale. I'm sure as you get a little bit more, and that might be a little bit more difficult, but I've had no complaints for like the past couple of years here.
I've been like pondering, like, just like with the bins and stuff. Like, there's people who are always just like, they always seem to be a pain in the ass. Like, they always call up last minute. They always like, it's just, and I'm like, how many of these people do I really need? Like, we have like a lot of bin clients, and some are amazing. But then I'm like, I have guys that call me every day for 2 weeks and then don't call me for 3 weeks because they're building their jobs now. So they don't fucking need me. Like they're laying pavers, they're doing cut-ins, they're not doing any dig-outs. So they don't call me because there's no dig-outs going on. So I'm like, that's when I need these like other people. I'm like, oh, this guy's like, I always got like some weird place. This bin has to like it's a
Like the Hawaiian shirt guy.
Hawaiian shirt guy
Hawaiian shirt guy from last week.
Yeah, Hawaiian and that guy was
Did that client ever pay you? The bill
the
that went
Hawaiian
direct
shirt.
to yeah.
I don't know because when Kelly did
You were saying before.
when Kelly did all the invoicing this week, she's like, "Who's this person?" And I'm like, "Because I mean, we have like a lot of the same clients." It's like, I don't know. It was that guy in the Hawaiian shirt. She's like, "Okay, well, I'm invoicing him last because I don't even know what to do." And I was like, "Well, I put in that we have like every truck has an Apple calendar assigned to it, and then I track every truck every day and what they did, and then that way Kelly can go back into the calendar. It's a shared calendar with her, and she can go back and see." And I said, "I put all the info to build the guy in the calendar, so people like that either pay you immediately or it's painful. Like and it's like, the bin was $400. Like, I want the $400.
Of course.
What are you willing to do to get your $400 from Hawaiian shirt guy? Like, how far am I chasing Don Ho down? Like, am I going full Magnum PI to get this $400? Like, I don't even really know anything. Like, we did a bin. A guy called me. I have people who do like 100 bins a year with us, and they just text me, and I don't even really talk to them. And this was like this guy's call me to like talk about how horrible bin people are and how disorganized, like literally for like 20 minutes. And I was like, bro, like I'm a bin person. If you don't like me, like shut the fuck up. Like they screw up my jobs. They put a bin in the driveway and it fucked up the driveway. And I'm like, okay, agreed. Like I didn't, anyways. We ended up doing these 2 bins for this guy. And I must have talked to him more. What he said to me, well, how do I pay you? And I said, I don't know, like I'll give you one of me or Cody will give you a ticket. And at the end of the week, we'll turn them into Kelly, and Kelly will email you an invoice, and then you pay me. You can pay for your e-transfer. We have credit card payments available with whatever accounting software we're using. You can pay a multitude of different, you choose how you pay. I go, oh, okay, no problem. He goes, don't you get ripped off all the time? I'm like, actually, no. Like, almost never. Like, I fucking barely ever happens. Like, almost never. Like, he's like, you must get, like, just ripped. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, generally people don't call me unless they need a bin and they want to pay for it. Like, I don't know. Like, you're really going to be like, fuck that bin guy for $400. Like, I feel like you got to run a deeper game than that if you're trying to rip people off. Like, it just,
yeah.
I have like these people who call you 100 times and then you do, and then there's people who like you do a ton of work for and they text you. I've thought too, like we have a multitude of people who call me like the moment that they need the bin. Like, hey, I need a bin now. And I'm like, okay. And to be honest, like for some reason, it just always seems to magically work out that we can usually. A guy called me today looking for a delivery of HPB, and there was no way I could do it, and that's super rare, right? But I'm like, have I trained my clients to not be prepared?
Yeah, that's
I
tough,
did
right?
that. I did. Did I do it? Like, I think I might have trained all these people to just call me at the last minute and expect me to show up with a bin from the sky. Like, I'm the one who set that price, not them. Like the first time they called me, I could have said, yeah, bro, if you don't give me 24 hours notice, you don't get a fucking bin.
What if you were to add like a convenience charge to that? Be like, hey, if you call me on the day of, because then that kind of takes away that reinforcement, right?
Yeah. How how attached are you guys to how much it costs to get rid of a bin of dirt?
I do all my own moving, so as a terrible business owner, I never looked at the cost of how much it takes to get rid
Well,
of something.
Okay, so Mike, you get lots of bins, right?
Yeah.
So I have people who like freak out about the cost of the bin. And I'm like,
Really?
yeah, like so for a 14-yard bin, I charge $400 in Durham region.
That's incredible.
I don't even know if that's like, I base my pricing against like another local bin supplier that charges I think $435, and I have way less overhead than that bin supplier because I'm friends with him, so I know how much overhead he has. And so I charge that. And there's only 3 of us really that do these bins in Durham. So like and it works mathematically for what I'm trying to achieve hourly for the trucks. So that's what I charge. But then people are always like, man, that bin should be $325. I'm like, okay, well, what, like based off of what? Like I don't,
Right.
like how much are bins in Kitchener?
So if I plan right and the driveway is like an old asphalt driveway, I can get away with like $250 for a 4-yard bin. Like I can't generally get more than a 6-yard bin from a company in Kitchener.
Really?
Yeah.
And
And
we should
then
expand.
yeah, you should. I 14 yards, that'd be incredible. If I don't plan and I call the day before, which is usual, and also like I do a lot of work in a subdivision that's like retired and they all have interlock driveways. So I have like a specific bin company that takes really good care and like their drivers are really great. That costs me, I think they're up to like $325 for a 4-yard bin.
I'm in the wrong city.
Yeah.
So just to put that in, there's a guy in Durham and he does 20-yard fill bins. It's crazy. So I end up, my trucks and his trucks end up on the same jobs a lot because people are digging pools and everyone wants to dig pools into bins now. No one wants to dig pools into dump trucks anymore. And so a lot of it's because it's small space access and they don't want to have a big machine on site. So he has 20s and I have 14s. And when I look at a 20 on the ground, I'm like, I can't imagine a truck trying to pick this thing up. Like, yeah, it just, because our 14s are like, the trucks are working hard to get them up off the ground. Like a 20, like, so this is really crazy. He'll do 20-yard bins for $300.
Wow. Like how much does that cost to dispose of? Like I can't make those numbers work in my head, to be honest.
I mean, everyone charges what works for their business because people call me and they're like, well, you're too expensive. I'm like, okay, well, we provide a great level of service. I have a lot of bins. Like one of the things I do is I have a lot of bins. Like we have a lot of, like no one has ever called me and I've said I'm out of bins. I don't have any bins to help you because we have a lot of them. We have 2 more are coming this week. So it'll be up to 15 bins. So I don't like saying that someone's charging you $325 for 4 yards. I'm like, that's sick. That's just so like, because all you need is like the trucks that I'm using to pull those bins off the ground are like $300,000. Mm-hmm. The 14-yard, like a new one is like with the hook and the everything is like $275. But like to pull a 4-yard bin off the ground, I could buy $100,000 Ford F550.
Yeah.
And get the same money. I'm moving to Kitchener. Like, or our region is vastly undervaluing getting rid of dirt.
Yeah, like in my city, we used to do $200 bins. And people were freaking out, like $200 for a bin, like, and that was like, if it was fill, like that was no disposal fee, right? Like it was just, it would go back to the farm and just dump it, bulldoze it, and it's fill, right? But $400 seems so cheap nowadays. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you're right. It's really depends on your business model and everything, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe I could probably make those numbers work, but I wouldn't feel good about it. Driving a bin truck around Toronto all day for,
Well, Toronto,
well,
my prices are, we're talking Durham region, right?
okay.
So Durham
Yeah.
region, I have like multiple choices on where to get rid of the dirt locations. Like, so we're talking like my home base. My home base is in Durham. You want me to go to Toronto? Like, one of our very good bin customers called me to dig a pool in Toronto, and I'd sit there like, bro, like I don't want to go there. Like,
Yeah.
I have no interest in it. Like,
Yeah.
it's too far. Cody can't do enough bins in a day to like. I have to charge you, and his was like, I'd rather have Cody. I'll pay you whatever you want for the bins. Because he's like, I trust her. She's honest. Like, I don't want to call someone else. I said, okay, whatever. But, and I can't remember what I worked out on that job, but like we charged way more, because I'm like, I don't want to go to church. I have no interest in it. It's so I find it interesting that people only bring 4-yard bins. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, we don't have anybody that does those tiny bins here.
I would be totally down with that. They're like probably not easy to get off the ground and easy to move around, and like,
Yeah.
one of the jobs that I was on, they were digging a pool and it was pure clay, like pure clay. And when they were filling up my bin, I was like, holy fuck, like, this is going to be nasty. Get this thing off the ground. But then they were filling this other guy's 20s. When I went back, the road was indented. The actual physical, and it was like 20-year-old asphalt. This was not new asphalt. And there was like two because the bins have rollers on either side. And I picked up this spring, a guy was like, oh, can you put the bin in the driveway? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not warranting anything here. Like, I'm like, if I was you, I'd get some plywood and disperse the weight load, and it rolls in. And they're like, no, we want to put it on 2x4s. And I'm like, sure, go nuts, bro. But I tell you, I don't think it's a good idea. And so I went to pick up the bin, and when I picked up the bin, the 2x4 was in the driveway on both sides, like in the driveway, like flush with the driveway. I picked up the bin. I went around it. I picked up the bin and I went around to throw the 2x4s off the driveway. And I'm like, oh, I can't get on a pick with me. So these just became a permanent part of this driveway. And I fucking drove away. And to the guy's credit, he never called me. I fucked him up for sure. I was driving away that day going, oh my God, I just bought this driveway. I guarantee this guy's going to call me. He's going to never said a fucking word.
Wow.
Now, maybe he was pulling the driveway up or something. I don't know, but never. He also has not called me for any more bins. Also, that side of the story, but it's because here too they're getting really tight about putting them on the road.
Yeah, that's been a problem always,
Yeah.
especially where I work. Like it's essentially a gated community, like, so they have people on active patrol for any sort of violation, as well as retired neighbors and everything like that. So literally it's got to go in the driveway. So that's why I'm okay with a 4-yard bin. It gets built into the price anyways. And it's just like, it's small enough that we don't need to open it, set up a ramp to go into it. We dump over the sides with the small machine because we got tight access anyways. Like, 4-yard bins are perfect for where we, like 60% of our business comes from and how we work essentially.
We have we probably do have laws. Maybe we just don't follow them, but we're still dumping on the road. We're still putting bins on the road. We're parking trucks backwards on the road. We're cowboys. I don't know why people hire us, but maybe because the trucks look good when they show up. But everything else is a shit show.
Like, I do like your trucks. I do like them. I think it's good. I like the branding. I
like the cleaned up logo, the NDL.
Yeah, thanks guys. I'm a fan of it. No phone numbers, no any of this. Don't call me. I don't care. Don't need the work. Don't want the headache. Yeah, we're just trying to be clean and sort of imitate some of the big companies and stuff like that. And I don't know, it seems to be going okay for us.
I have a a whole thing that, like, our trucks are pretty, I guess now they're all black and they're pretty noticeable, but I don't have any, it says at Paver King on them because it's the name of the company, but I don't have a phone. I'm like, you got to work hard to find me.
Yeah.
Like, put your work in to find me, because if I make it too easy this is just my opinion too. Like, if someone has a completely wrapped trailer and they love all the business it brings them, I think that's amazing for them. For me, I don't want 500 phone calls from every single person in the neighborhood. I want the person that walked by the job 5 times and then took the time to go find out how to contact me and then called me. That's the client that I want to deal with at the level. I don't need 500 jobs either. Like, if you're trying to feed a big machine, like if you're trying to feed a 5-crew machine, then you need all those leads from those trailers. I don't. Like, well, so when we wrapped Christie's truck, it has pink chrome on it. That pink chrome is like the most expensive part of wrapping. Like, that wrap is expensive because it's like 20 layers thick to do it. And so on the back of it, it had the big crown on the back of her truck, and then underneath it said at Paver King in huge letters. It was there for like 24 hours, and I called Colin and was like, go peel that shit off the truck now. Right now. So I can't even fathom it in my brain that we have something that. So now it just has the crown, but more people will call and be like, I love that crown because it's like, if you know, you know, and if you don't, I don't give a fuck. Figure it out. Figure it out for yourself. Like, that's more my. But again, I'm not like, if someone's trying, like the guys who like cut grass, like lawn maintenance, they need the 500 clients to make that business model work. So they need that many calls. Like, I don't need that many calls. I'd rather have people who work hard to find me and then, email me, and then I reject them, and then I tell them to email me, and then they tell me and I tell them I've totally lost control and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. And they're still like, call me. That's the client that I want, because that client is not calling anyone else. Like, they're calling me. So not because I want to charge more. I just don't want the hassle of having to bid against other people.
Yeah.
Like, even if someone said, you all have to charge exactly the same, I'd be like, if there's more than me, I'm not that interested in it. It's not about like trying to make I just don't want other people around. I don't like them. Like,
I'll get behind that. Like, I agree. I don't like too many hands grabbing at me or pricing against this guy or whatever. I find the biggest thing is wasting time. Like, because I can make money, but I can't make more time. Right. So
that's pretty deep, man. Aristotle over there.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. It's probably been said a million times, but
dropping the Aristotle quotes.
There's too much value. I'm out. I'm done.
That's the title of the episode.
There's too much value. I'm out.
Too much value. I'm out.
You can't make more time. Our finest
like,
hour.
So I understand it's part of the job, right? We're going to price against other guys and this and that, but the biggest thing that gets me is wasting the time to do it, right? Wasting the time to put myself out there and give my ideas and go home, and instead of being with my family, I'm at the computer writing an estimate, and it turns around and you don't get the job. If you could give me my time back for that, I would be more than happy, but the biggest problem for me is wasted time when I could be doing something else. So maybe I should get an estimator or something like that, but or maybe I should just give up residential contracting altogether.
Do you guys have someone in your lives who constantly recommends you and it never works out? And you're just like, can you please fucking stop giving my number out or telling people that I'll do work for them?
Yeah.
Like, I have a couple people in my life that just constantly text me, hey, my friend has no money and needs 600 square feet laid. Like, what are you talking about? Well, don't call me. I don't care. Like, I have 2 or 3, like, maybe 2 or 3, like, and every lead, I'm like, I don't want to go to Bloor and Danforth or whatever. Like, I don't want to go to Leslieville. I don't want to fucking work at McCowan Road in Scarborough. Like, it's like, I don't want to do those things. But it's like every single lead is one of, like, I have a couple people, they text me and I'm like, where is it? It's the first, like, it literally, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Because I'm like, I don't I've lost track of my circle and where I know how to make money and where I can solve problems. And the farther I get away from that, the harder it becomes for me to problem solve in an emergency. The farther I get from Durham region, the harder it gets. That's where I'm based from. The harder it gets for me to solve a problem. So I don't want to travel an hour away, because an hour away, I don't even know where the fucking Home Depot is. Like,
that's more profound than anything I've said. The fact that the further out you get, the harder it is to solve a problem. That's it. Like, I'm doing jobs in White Lake in the middle of fucking nowhere, right? 2 hours from where I am, and how do I get this or how do I get that? I just have to work with what I brought that day, and that's it.
It's well, but see, like, commercially, you go where you really go where the work is.
Yeah.
Like, that's a little bit like you're almost trapped into going where the work is. So residentially, I don't know. Yeah, it just I try to control it more, because at one time I would have been like, fuck yeah, I'll take that job 2 hours away in King City. It's going to be great. It's totally going to work out. It's awesome. Now I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to lose my shirt in King City. I'd rather pay my people to clean the yard, because at least it's a controlled loss then.
Yeah.
Like, people call me all the time for the trucks, and I'm like, I'd rather pay Christy to sit at home. I say that to people at least 3 days a week. I'll pay her to sit at home. There's no wear and tear on the truck. It's a controlled loss for me. I know exactly how much money I lost that day. I'm good. I'm not coming to, like, someone said this is how, like, one of these people that gives me, I got a guy that needs 200 to 300 loads of regrind asphalt. I'm like, okay, great. Gives me the address. I time it out for the trucks, whatever. I text him back. I said, it's going to be about $400 a load. I'm trying to work on getting the asphalt a bit cheaper because it's such a big volume, but about $400 a load. He texts me back, I thought it would be $70 a load. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? The regrind asphalt's the best I found is $9 a ton. The truck holds 22 ton. Like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, what are you, like, $70? Like, if they were grinding it on the 401 and trying to get rid of it for free, it wouldn't be $70. Like, I can drive a kilometer for 70. Like, but that's the kind of person I'm like, well, I'll pay Christy. I'd rather pay Christy to sit at home, because then I know I'm losing exactly how much I'm losing. And I'm fine with that.
Right.
I'd rather lose that money than pay her to go, because paying her to go out, or paying anyone, any of the crews to go out and lose money, that's uncontrolled loss, because once you're down that cascading slope in any project where you're losing money, it's like a bottomless pit. It's like, we misjudged, we need an extra stair. Oh, the client wants it 10 square feet. It's like some jobs go, and those jobs just don't. They just end up like, it's just one thing after, and it's like this, just end the pain. How do we get out of here as fast? I've had those jobs where I sent like all the crews to, like, commercially, I've had those jobs where I'm like, send everyone here for 3 days so I can finish this fucking job, get the hell out of here, and just cut my arm off. Like, because otherwise it's going to be a slow bleed of me just cutting my finger off. And I'm going to bleed out slowly for 6 weeks. Cut my whole fucking arm off, bleed me out quick, pain's over, move on to the next.
Move on. Let's make some money back.
That's profound. Cut your arm off, Jeff.
Cut your arm off. Some days I feel like I have cut my arm off.
So are you guys going to do intros?
Yeah, we need We need 3 more, actually.
3 more.
Can you actually cut that out as an intro? I was like joking around.
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
I mean, we'll keep it in the episode, but if you want to,
I don't care. No, yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Use it. Use it.
We need your radio voice, Mike.
Yeah.
This is like, welcome to the welcome to the Not Our Finest Hour podcast, where the ideas and topics discussed here will not inspire you to grow your business.
That's
They
good.
will, they will inspire you, in fact, to descale your business and get it back under control. You will definitely not have more than one person working at your business after listening to this podcast. We will be discussing how to lose money on trucking, commercial landscaping, residential, the overinflated cost of bins in Kitchener. That should be in the description. It should say deep discussion on the overinflated bin cost in Kitchener.
So you got to write those little blurbs too, Mike, at the bottom of each. Yeah. See, I'll scroll on podcasts just to find something good. Like that's the most important part. Well, other than the name too, right?
Oh, you read the description?
Oh yeah, I don't just
man.
hit play on anything. Like I'm always reading the description before
I spend zero time on my description. There's literally the least amount of time that I put into it.
What is so special about your last episode? I haven't listened to it yet. Where someone wrote, "That's a fucking amazing episode." Because maybe we should copy that.
The last episode that I did.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about our last episode.
No, oh God, our last episode is not fucking amazing. But the guy from Ottawa, Matt wrote, that was a fucking amazing episode. And I was like, wow, man, I got to listen to that. Like, that's a strong review. Like, what the hell is that about? Should we talk about that tonight on this episode?
Or should we just tease it? So maybe people actually listen to my podcast. That'd be good.
I feel like
do you know Randy Tumber?
No.
No?
Love the handle though. Tumber.
He is like a natural landscape design builder. Where is he based at? Orangeville. Do you know Orangeville?
I do.
So
There's no oranges there.
No. And he in the whole episode I asked like 2 questions. That's it. And it's an hour and a half long episode. Wow. So he literally just goes off on he's just super passionate about design topics. He works on very large estates. So he goes into so many detailed topics, and literally the whole podcast I asked 2 questions. So an hour and a half of him talking essentially about something he's very passionate about and something he's very knowledgeable about.
I feel like he's going to get rid of me and you, Chad, and he's going to put this whose slot is up for grabs? Barry Tumblr.
You didn't do so great this week.
Your dog was panting way too loud. You've been replaced by Barry because he doesn't have a dog.
We'll have a survivor night where we each throw up a name that we're going to vote out here and then replace with somebody else.
I still should do that hardscape voting thing. Fuck. I got distracted by pickles last week. I don't know if you guys saw the voting about, do you cut your pickles the long way or the short way?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Long way. Definitely the long way.
Yeah.
I feel anyone who takes a pickle out of a jar and cuts it the short way is fucked up. Yeah, whose brain, I'm going to put this pickle in a short round slices. What are you talking about? You're not McDonald's. What the fuck are you doing?
You're not McDonald's. I buy them pre-sliced, right? They just come sliced. I don't have to slice my own pickles.
So I buy them whole. I buy them whole. I don't put pickles on anything. I just eat the pickle.
You don't put pickles on a hamburger?
No.
One time, this is a vivid memory from my hardscape past. I was doing this patio and I got progressively more sick over the day. And it turns out I got gastro. By 4 o'clock, I was at home in bed shaking orange Gatorade, couldn't get out of bed. The next 3 hours I spent throwing up. Spent the next 2 days in bed. Finally got out of bed. We were doing a softscape job, so I had to go to the greenhouse, whatever, get all my plants. Still couldn't eat. I hadn't eaten in 3 days. They had a jar of honey, organic honey that they made at the orchard or whatever, and a jar of pickles that they pickled themselves, right? So the only thing I could manage to get down after 4 days of not eating, I was drinking the honey to try and get some nourishment so I could work, and eating these pickles because it's the only thing that I could stomach.
Oh.
So
Pickle juice is supposed to be good for stopping cramps, right? Or is that
Uh,
just something that I heard?
Maybe.
Yeah.
We've been buying I like spicy food, but we've been buying spicy pickles
Yeah, those
and
are good.
still slicing them a long way. Like I just,
have you guys ever had pickled tomatoes? Is that a thing, or is that a
No.
Cornwall thing?
What's a
Phenomenal.
Cornwall?
Gotta be a Cornwall thing.
If you can imagine the best pickle you've ever had, but spicy and in tomato form, like put it on a burger, whatever, phenomenal. If you can get your hands on some spicy or some pickled tomatoes, I'd recommend that. And if somebody out there wants to sponsor me by sending spicy pickled tomatoes, I'd be on board. Yeah, we'll
You
I
just
think-
pop them during the podcast.
multiple stories a day. I'm talking big money sponsorship here. Like,
Next week on this podcast, I want all of us to sit here the whole time holding up one of these heart drills. Is that what it was called? Heart,
you think they'll be in by
Tools.
next week?
Yeah, we should- we should all stand here just holding one of these drills for the whole.
I'm just gonna let my battery powered lawnmower run in the background for the whole podcast.
Yeah.
Your background's not fuzzy. We could build up all the tools, like
Yeah.
all 20 of those tools behind you. And
Just
then
keep
say,
them
"Listen,
running. We'll see them going on fire in the background.
I'm going to send out a thing saying, listen, we're launching a brand new podcast. And it's not just two idiots. It's two idiots and a guy who actually knows what he's doing, who knows how to launch a podcast and has this very successful podcast already. So we're working with him to totally kind of legitimize ourselves, because I would have no idea what, but we want a sponsor for this podcast, and we're going to we feel deeply that our audience is going to be enthralled with heart tools from Walmart.
Until they hear this podcast.
But I'm not
Why?
knocking them at all. Like,
I'm not either. They could be.
don't get me
I-
wrong here. This could be phenomenal. You know,
Send them
like,
to me. I'm telling you, I gotta use the blower to blow off the truck every time, because when you pick up bins, there's dirt all people are a mess loading bins, man. Shit
All right, so
everywhere.
we're all gonna message Heart Tools right after this. They haven't even
Oh.
contacted me, and I'll just introduce myself.
They're gonna love your account. We should start a group chat with them.
Yeah.
Hey, motherfuckers! Do you care if there's excessive swearing? I hope they send me T-shirts and hats so we can all wear them together
I'll wear it.
every episode. That'd be awesome.
They'll get you to H&A, no problem. They got wallets. Walmart? Are you kidding me? They'll
Yeah,
get
but
you
do
to
they go-
H&A, no problem, man.
Is
What
it
is-
is it a Walmart brand? Is it what? Like, I haven't asked the question. I just said sign me up for the free stuff. You know,
I don't even know how Walmart came up. It didn't come up for me.
I don't know. They just tagged Walmart Canada in the post or something.
Oh, okay. I have no idea. They sent me a message and I responded. I think I might have told them to send me an email.
I was flattered, so of course I'll bite. You know, because this is all new to me. No one's offered to give me free stuff before. Yeah,
I think they
Okay,
Yeah,
so here's some information on the company, just so we can put this here.
this is great podcast material. I want to make sure that you reading information about this random tool company makes it on the episode, because that's great.
So this is answered by Google. Today, it's a Walmart house brand, Heart Tools. Both Heart hand tools and power tools are made by TTI, and they're the makers of Ryobi and Milwaukee. So
Oh,
a
fuck.
lot of these tools are actually owned by bigger companies. Like I think DeWalt is owned by a parent company that also owns like another tool brand. There's a lot of like that going on. So yeah,
So what is
Ryobi,
it, Milwaukee?
Heart Tools, all owned by TTI apparently.
I'm gonna send that link to my guy who was like, "Can you get like Milwaukee to sponsor us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, like I don't think that's gonna happen. Like maybe I'd rather pursue someone sending me a free truck. Yeah, I was gonna hardly pursue something that's like take time to hard pursue something that's never happening. I'm going for the truck, 100%. Or like enough, I would go for enough gas to keep one of my trucks running, so I didn't have to drive the Veloster. Like if they could sponsor me for $500 to $600 a week worth of gas to get Paisley to soccer, I wouldn't have to drive the Veloster. I'm down for that, and I'll wear like an SO hat. Or Ultramar.
Ultramar.
I'm down with Ultramar, man.
Yeah,
fuck that.
that's who does our fuel cans. Ultramar. They're great.
Yeah,
they're good.
Ours are Durham fuels. Are your fuel tanks have a monitor in them?
I think so. So that like by monitor, you mean they know when to fill them?
Yeah. That you can track on your computer?
I can't track it, but they can track it. Maybe they like I don't know. Maybe I'm behind on the times. Like maybe I can track it too. But
I happened to be in the yard on Thursday and they were filling our fuel tank. And I happened to be in the yard on Friday and they were filling our fuel tank. So I called Kelly and was like, "Listen, I know we go through a shit ton of fuel, but I don't think we need to fill the fuel tank every day. I'd like a break from the $4,000 a fill-up bill." Like, so she called them and was like, "Hey, like, you guys are filling the tank every day. Like, they think that's a problem. Like, why are you coming so?" And they're like, "Oh, the first guy ran out of fuel in the truck, and he was worried that if you guys were working over the weekend, you wouldn't have enough." I said, "Oh, okay." But then she said there is a monitor in the tank that you can, if you log in and it'll give you the code, it'll show you every day what your fuel limits are. So that was kind of interesting. Right. Yeah, I didn't know that existed.
I just read the little red meter on top that says full or not full.
They said they'd give us a wood dipstick. Like, I'm glad
you have a dipstick? Like you don't have a little gauge on top that?
No, they said they would give us a dipstick. And I was like, this seems really old school. Like I'm going to be sticking my hand in the diesel tank with a deep stick, like, and then pulling it. Like I was like, okay, sure.
No, we have.
I might be dumping fuel all over the yard every day, dripping off the stick, but I'm not burning plastic. So
I'm not looking at it from an ecological standpoint. It's just a convenience thing. I like to have the dial that says, yeah, there's fuel in there.
I would like that too. I feel like we should. Though we do, although, and when we got this fuel tank, there was an in-depth discussion on this. We have a high flow pump. And I was like, great, bro. Said, no, it's high flow, man. The pump is high flow. Do you know what that means? And I'm like, I feel like it means like there's a lot of flow of fuel in the pump. Not a lot. High flow, my friend. And I was like, sure. But on the flip side of that, like this thing will fill my like tank on the side of my bin truck in like 4 minutes. It is, you can't fill a jerry can with it because the nozzle is so big it barely goes into the jerry can. And then the vacuum you create shoves the can off the end of it because it's so high flow. And
I don't have high flow.
You should get high flow. You should call Ultramar tomorrow and tell them.
Listen, I need a high flow nozzle. It's just a nozzle, I'm assuming.
I don't know. Okay, I'm going to be honest, I didn't investigate this. It is a bigger, because like the slip tank on the back of my pickup is not high flow.
No.
It's low flow.
Low flow.
Generally, like the fuse blows halfway through every time you're filling anything kind of flow. Like, it does. I guess it's hot. Okay, we had and this is 100% my fault. We had a kid last year, and where the fuel cube was on the site, I would have had to walk the excavator out on the road, all the way down the road and get around just because of different issues on the site. So there's this 16-year-old kid standing beside me. who was working for us at the time. And I said, take my truck and go fill up the tank with diesel and bring it back so we can pump it into this excavator. And he said, no problem. So he jumped in the truck, drove it around to this fuel cube, started up the generator, filled up the truck, brought it back. I climb up on the excavator. It was a 20-ton. I stick the nozzle in.
He put the fuel in the truck.
Turns it on. And I'm like, hey, bro, there's no fuel in the tank. He goes, no, I filled it right up. And I'm like, what? What tank did you fill? And he's like, the one on the side. And I'm like, now, keeping in mind that my truck is gas. And it's now full of diesel.
Oh, man.
And the truck's been running for quite some time. So the motor is completely full of diesel. And at first I was angry with the young lad. But then I realized I didn't set him up for success. Because I didn't say to him, do you know where the fuel tank is? Do you know how to fill the fuel tank? I just said, go fill the fucking fuel tank now, because I was upset and frustrated. So $2,000 later, by the time we've got this fuel drained out of the tank and it's in all the injectors and then I drove the truck for like 3 months and it would just stall. You could drive down the 401, turning left. Oh my God. I'm gonna die here in this truck. So, and a testament to this, because I always say, like, if you want to buy a reliable vehicle, you buy a 6-liter Chevy. They're indestructible. They're hard as fuck on fuel, but they are totally indestructible vehicles. A 6-liter Chevy motor. I've had so many of them. I've never had like the one I have now has 375K on it, and it got filled with diesel and ran on diesel for a day, and it's still like we replaced a couple of the injectors, and boom, she fires up, she's fine. Like it's an indestructible vehicle in my personal opinion. But yeah, that cost me, like, I was like, oh, that was a hard lesson, Mike, about not training people that you probably have learned like 5,000 times, but still needed to learn again today.
Better you than me.
Yeah, so if someone's ever filled the slip tank, make sure they know what it is and that you don't fill it through the kids. In theory, really, like, to that kid, like, that's how you put fuel in the car. So he put it in thinking it would feed the tank. It's actually not that unreasonable when you really think about it. If you don't know anything and you just dropped out of high school and your mother happens to be one of my drivers and she was like, get this kid out of my fucking house. Like that, all, like, he has no knowledge of construction. Like, it's not his fault. It wasn't. It was 100% my fault. Like 100%. Anyways, I don't know if we're talking about. We're talking about fuel, the high flow. Thank God it wasn't high. Thank God it wasn't high flow. Like, who knows what could have happened? Well, if it was high flow, the nozzle wouldn't have physically
fit in the gas.
Fit into the fucking gas thing. So we probably would have been like trying to spray it in. That would have been ugly too.
That happened to a buddy of mine, actually. His wife filled up the car and it didn't fit, but she still insisted on filling it up, and then only found out after that it was diesel. So, I mean, these things happen, not just to you.
Yeah. Anyways, that's the devastation of the 10-liter gas jug.
That's
The 5-liter gas jug is perfect for mix. Everyone knows it's mix. It's not straight gas.
Yeah.
And the 20-liter gas jug is purely straight gas. The 10-liter gas jug, that's just fucking the hardscape fucking Still and all these people fucking with you so that you destroy your shit and you have to buy new stuff.
Or get given free shit, electric shit.
That's what the 10-liter gas jug is. It's just a destroyer of things that aren't mixed or are mixed and no one really knows what's in it. It's literally set up to blow up your equipment. I actually did a thing about that. That's when I was like really into like the whole. I don't even remember what I was calling it. I'd have to rewatch the video.
Wasn't something about like drain the pond or something like that?
Yeah, drain this. I was gonna run for. I actually had a whole bunch. Like they were supposed to make a bunch of.
You
stickers.
made an account for that.
I did. Oh, yeah, it's a burner account. It's a backup.
It's a backup.
Because they were supposed to be making a whole bunch of King 2024 stickers.
Oh.
I was doing a whole thing that I was like Trump. because if you're going to act like someone, he's clearly well, he's just got raided by the FBI too. So
Yeah.
I don't want to get raided by the FBI. So there's a local contractor was on TikTok, and he made a video of himself flashing a huge amount of cash, and it was like my money doesn't jiggle, my money folds, or whatever that. I'm sure you guys have seen that clip.
Yeah.
And he's flashing this cash, and so whatever, like that's your try. I don't really care, but everyone who watches it are like, man, the Canada Revenue Service is coming for that motherfucker. Like they're coming for that guy. And I'm like, okay, like where I grew up, I'm like, someone's gonna like fucking go smash that guy's face at his house and take his money. Like I don't care. I'm not worried. The Canada Revenue, that's a long problem away. The bigger problem for me when it's like how hard is it? We're standing in a group of us, a bunch of us talking with this is how hard is it to find where that fucking guy lives? Because it's a company account. In like 30 seconds on Google, they had the exact location of that guy's fucking house. And I'm like, I mean, it was only like $800. It was fuck ton. I don't think it was enough to fill one of my trucks with fuel. But like, it was still like, I was like, man, like to me, you're inviting a nefarious crowd to your house looking for cash. Like it was a weird, I guess people would look and say I post stupid shit too, so I should make a video like that. I'm gonna make a video like that with Monopoly money.
That would be good.